guys, welcome to episode 2 of Online Business Basics. This is the 101 for those who are setting up a business and wanting to learn about how to do that online.
To avoid the pitfalls, make it
Avoid
work.
the pitfalls, navigate the jungle, don't make all of the same mistakes we have made and everyone else makes.
Mistakes we have seen other people make.
Yeah. And maybe in our early days have made as well, Gary.
Talk about yourself. I've
Just
never made a
admit it,
mistake
man.
in my life.
Just admit it. I made a mistake once.
Really?
Yeah, I thought I was wrong, but I was actually right.
Yeah, that wasn't a mistake.
Surely you've heard that before. So here's a real quick recap and introduction to the series, why we're doing this. We get questions from people every single day, and some of those questions are more common than others.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do this series just to offer you the opportunity to get the answers to the questions that most people ask when they're in a situation like the one you might be in right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're out there in the real world and you've had the idea to create a company, this series 2 of the AIA podcast, will help you.
Yes.
It will give you answers to your questions, and it will give you answers to questions you didn't even know to ask.
That's right.
About how to set a company up specifically in the online space.
So we're going to rush through it, not rush through it, but we're going to power through. It's value packed, covering a lot of ground here.
Yep.
Pull out a pen and paper, come back and listen to it again if you don't get it all, because there's a lot of useful stuff in here for you guys. Real quick recap on last episode. We covered what's in a name, why choose a business name that suits your business, how to choose a business name that suits your business, the different types of business names people can choose, whether or not using like keyword-rich business names and domain names and stuff like that can help. So if you haven't listened to that episode and you're at that stage in starting a new business, go back and have a listen to it for sure. We also covered how to focus on what your business will offer. We talked a little bit about Alex Hormozi's value equation.
Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about This Is Marketing, Seth Rogen's This Is Marketing book on, you can't be everything for everyone. So choose a group of people that you can be something for.
Yep.
So there's some value in there too, guys. And in this episode, we're going to cover competitor offer.
Analysis.
Competitor analysis. So how to basically come up with an offer that you think will stick with the market based on what you've found your competitors are doing that is working. So there's some basic steps you can take in that process that will offer you real insights and help you decide, how to come up, how to promote your goods or services to the marketplace in a way that's going to give it the best chance of working, and also buying a website, how to make sure you get a website that's going to suit your needs and work for your business.
Yeah, that last one's a real pitfall. I mean, outside of work, I've obviously spoken to lots of friends or family, and they buy websites having no idea what they're buying. And it's very easy to be sold the website. So the big section of this podcast will be talking about what you need to know, the sort of questions you should be asking, and how to spot a little bit of the BS that some people might throw your way.
It's going to be a very good section to listen to. It's going to be very informative because I've run quizzes before. We had a landing page up for a while, which was get a website quote, and we would ask a few basic questions and give people a broad spectrum kind of analysis of how much that website should cost.
Yep.
The reason why I think this is valuable is because if you show someone a car or a house or a hamburger and ask them all how much they think it should cost, you'll get sort of somewhere near the same amount of money from most of them.
I know nothing about cars.
Right. Yeah, but still, I mean, you see a Merc, you go up, you see a Corolla, you go down, right?
Yeah, deal.
But you show 10 people a website, an e-commerce website or a service-based website or an interactive website, something you can log into, you will get a very broad range of answers based on who they've had experience with building websites before.
Yeah.
How much people think websites are worth. It's massive difference. Some people will say 1,000, other people will say 10,000, or more. So that's going to be useful for you guys. Should we start with competitor analysis, Gary? Competitor analysis?
Competitor analysis. Yes.
Who's first?
By all means.
Okay.
Billy likes talking.
Yeah. I'm gonna. Hope you like the sound of my voice, because if you want to get all of this free value from us, you're gonna have to listen to it for a while.
Yeah, you are.
So look, there's a lot of things that you can do. This is probably the most critical phase of setting up a new business, in my opinion.
Yep.
If you get the offer wrong, if you get the product to market fit wrong, if you get the pricing wrong, then your business, unfortunately, will be doomed to fail.
Yeah.
Whether that's you get the pricing wrong and you're too cheap, there's not enough margin, you can't afford to buy new customers, you're going to fail.
Yep.
If you get the pricing wrong and you're too expensive, no one buys from you because you've got a commodity and they can get the same thing somewhere else at the same price, then, again, doomed to fail. So
look at the prices.
Precisely.
I would assume that 100% of people who are setting up a company would always look at their competitors' prices, but we know firsthand data that people don't do that. Last episode, we talked about the experience of people stepping out from their boss's shadow, perhaps. It's a very common story for people who are looking to create their own company. And quite often, they will just go with whatever pricing their old company had, without looking at the competition, without looking at people in different areas or offering comparable but similar services. And if you do that, you're just going to laser in on one single price.
Yes.
And it is a big mistake to make.
Yes.
Yeah, my preference, and I'm always going to caveat everything. Side note, everything.
I should do a sound every time we hear that word.
Yeah.
There you go.
The caveat jingle.
Yeah.
I'd always caveat this, but as a rule of thumb, if you're creating a company and purely because of the fact that you're going to have lower overheads than the established competition who have a yard and staff and administration and vans on the road or whatever industry you're in, you're always going to have lower overheads, which means you can afford to charge less. As Bill said, you shouldn't charge too little and you shouldn't charge too much. So I aggregate your competition's price and down it by 15 or 10%. So that you can go in and legit say, hey, we're cheaper than the competition.
Yes.
And that's going to help you over the first hurdle,
yes.
which is why should people buy from you?
That is relevant for certain industries. When you're selling something that's commoditized, so if someone has a leaking pipe, and all they want is for that pipe to no longer leak, right? And if they can get that pipe to be fixed by one guy versus another guy, and one's cheaper than the other, but they're both going to fix the pipe, you're going to get the same outcome. Price is going to be a key component of who they decide to go with, right?
Exactly. Especially if the other plumber, electrician, whoever it may be, they might have been in the area for 20 years. They've already got the recognition. They may have already even served that house before. They know, or the potential customer knows that company does good work at a reliable price. So to get them to break from that and to come to you, you need to have something that makes you different. So
another thing, guys, is pick up the phone, fill out some forms. Don't be shy, and mystery shop. Call your competitors. Because not everyone also is going to have a commoditized service. There's going to be some people who are hoping to come up with something that's a bit different. Whether that's e-commerce, it's a product that's not that well known, or it's just starting to become popular. You can also promote your goods and services in a way that it's a value-based buying decision rather than a price-based buying decision. So you can do that by stacking value. There's other ways of being able to do that as well. But without knowing what your competition are charging, you're flying blind. You really do need to get to the bottom of it.
And the interesting side of that, well, there's two sides to every coin, as I like to say. The interesting reverse of that coin is that in e-commerce, it's often the exact opposite way around. In e-commerce, if you're purchasing materials, products to retail, a startup company will often, almost always, have nowhere near the same budget as the established competition. Therefore, the competition are buying in bulk and they can sell on price because they're shifting volume. Whereas if you're setting up for the first time, let's say you're trying to retail bed sheets again, those bed sheets are going to be more expensive to you because instead of buying 100,000 units, you're only buying 500 units. So you cannot sell on price in comparison to the competition. There, you would need to look at what the competition is doing in terms of their messaging. And if they are all talking about price and you can't, maybe you talk about quality. Maybe you go out and buy bed sheets that specifically have a higher thread count because people want that. I know very little about cotton, but from what I understand, Egyptian is the best. So make sure that you're buying Egyptian cotton with a high thread count so that people who are willing to spend a bit more.
You know a lot about bed sheets, Gary.
I do spend a lot of time in bed.
Really?
I am an exceptionally lazy person.
Right.
But anyway, so you find the product that you can retail. And when you're looking at, this is a key part of this, we're talking about competitor analysis here. if you are going into the e-com space rather than the service-based space, you are going to need to understand what the big players are doing, because they will be beating you on price, almost certainly, because they will be buying in bulk. So you need to have a look at them, look at their messages, and try to establish what is the alternate angle here.
Well, there's only one. If you're not going to compete on pricing, you need to compete on value.
Exactly. Now, the car industry is a fantastic example of this that everybody will understand. There's lots of companies out there that make, I won't say low end, but budget vehicles. But no car company, no new car company starts at that end of the market. They all start at the premium end. Every time anyone, anywhere, any engineering firm tries to say, okay, let's start selling cars, they always go for premium, high end, carbon fiber, whatevers, because that's the end of the market that they can play in. They cannot possibly manufacture as many cars as Toyota or as Ford and maintain the same profit margins.
Yes.
They have to go for big tickets.
So understanding your potential to be able to compete, this really is a business model discussion where I'm sure that when you've got the concept in your mind of starting a business, you've already kind of addressed some of these questions in your mind, at least, if not on paper.
Although we do speak to people all the time who have never considered this stuff.
Right.
This is why we're doing the podcast.
Yeah, usually people have a vision. Usually they have an idea in their mind. They don't yet really understand the costs involved in building brand. So when you're talking about things like e-commerce, and you're talking about things like apparel, or you're talking about things like homewares and things like that, to get your brand known, to get yourself, your business name out of ambiguity can take some time and cost some money. That not always, but that's often the case. And that's often the kinds of questions that people don't have answers to, like what's your COGS, cost of goods? What's your average expected average sale value? What's your expected average cost per customer? If it's an ongoing, lifetime value thing, what's the expected frequency of purchase? Or, these kinds of questions are important. And if you map them out before you get started, then, that will help you. That will go a long way to help you understand your pricing structure. And how to get that right.
Bill's specifically talking about e-commerce ventures here.
No, the average lifetime value of a client can also be for service-based.
I'll give you that one.
Cost per acquisition of a new customer. They're business models that are applicable. When you talk about e-commerce, you're talking about COGS, cost of goods, generally, and margins and return on ad spend, or ROAS. Because when you're advertising products online, you're advertising with a targeted return on ad spend. So, that's something we'll get a little bit more into in more detail in upcoming episodes. However, looking at your competitors' pricing is important. Gary, you've written down here, estimate their traffic.
So this is something that the average person listening to this podcast might not be that equipped to do. But it's something that I do when I talk to a potential customer. Because competitor analysis is a big thing. I'll talk to someone, ask them if they've done it. They say no. I say, okay, give me the name of some of your key competitors, some people in your space who are doing well, especially service-based companies, people who maybe set up 5 years ago. And, Joe, the electrician, is trying to emulate his mate, Pascal, who did this 5 years ago, right? So I will then go and have a look at Pascal's website, and I will scan his, and there's going to be some stuff in this section that the average user might not be able to do, but just hear it, listen to it, and we'll get to how to do it later on in other episodes. So you want to have a look at the competition's organic rankings, and you want to see if Pascal the electrician is coming up number one for any keywords within Google. You want to have a look at the back end code of his website and see if he's got certain tags in place. If he has Tag Manager, that's a good sign that someone there probably knows what they're doing. If they have a remarketing tag, a Google Ads remarketing tag, that probably means they're doing Google Ads. You then go to Google and search and see if you can find his adverts coming up. You go to his Facebook page.
You then click on his ads 7 times.
7 times in 7 days. And then you go to his Facebook page and you have a look to see if there's any adverts running there. And I, with my experience and my skill set, I'm able to estimate, or more likely guesstimate, the traffic that Pascal, the electrician who set up 5 years ago, might be receiving. And then with that, I'm able to say to my new potential customer, Joe, I can say, right, well, Pascal's getting approximately 2,000 people a month seeing his links, seeing his, it's or SEO is not an advert, but seeing his listings or link rankings,
Search results.
seeing his search results. If 2,000 people are seeing it, I can estimate that somewhere between 5 and 10% are actually visiting his website.
Yep.
So from 2,000, he's maybe getting 100 to 200 people a month on his website, which for a very small local electrician might be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, from say 200 people, I can then estimate that his phone's probably ringing 20 times a month because he's getting a 10% conversion rate. So 200 people visit, 10% reach out, 20 phone calls. From 20 phone calls, I can ask him and say, well, how many inquiries do you think he's closing? Is Pascal good on the phone? All right, yeah. And then Joe, who knows Pascal personally, Joe might say, well, he's probably closing 50%. That means he's getting 10 jobs a month. And it's all guesstimates and it's all estimates, but it is based on experience and is a fairly straightforward way of estimating the amount of traffic that a competitor is getting. And, if Pascal's an electrician and he's getting 10 jobs a month and we know his average job value is, say, $2,000, Pascal's making 20 grand a month.
Yes.
Done. Right.
Yep.
And then we look at the rest of the competition, add it all up, and that can give us a target for Joe, the electrician, who's breaking out for the first time on his own.
Yeah, cool. That's a really good way to try to get a grip on how many kind of jobs your people in your market might be getting from their rankings on Google. And having a look around to seeing if they're running ads and things like that can help as well. I'm very big on not just ads and traffic. The numbers are important. I'm big on that too, but the marketing psychology. So looking at your competitors' websites and writing down as long a list as possible of all of what we call the value propositions, or call outs that you can find. So we're sticking with the tradies here. For example, if you are looking at other plumbers or electricians, checking out all their landing pages, checking out all their websites, reading all of the ads that you can see coming up, and write down a list of everything that you see, like $0 call out, $50 off today, same day service,
12-month guarantee on all work.
Yeah, warranties. If we're late, you don't pay, on time or free. These kinds of things, slogans, value props, call outs that people put on their pages.
I actually worked with a really good one recently who had female electricians.
Yep.
And I'll be careful about how I phrase this, but there's areas of Sydney where there's demographics who the women who live there might only be interested in having a female
electrician, or a female tradesperson,
for religious, cultural, sociological reasons, whatever. We advertised heavily in those areas because of the cultural biases, preferences. It was a slam dunk. She was the only electrician who was covering that area, and her ad copy and value prop and website and landing pages all said, "I'm a woman," and it worked really well. So you can find other things like that. And
transferring that into other contexts, what that means is product to market fit. So having a service or a product that fits with your target market is critical, right? But once you've come up with that list, you can pick and choose which ones of those value propositions you want to display or even beat. You'll see people offering $50 vouchers, $50 off, $0 call out fee, on-time guarantees, things like that. Same day service. If you're starting out, you can see if you can beat any of these value propositions.
And value props, that leads us into reviews.
Yes.
Right. So if we review the reviews of, say, a competitor, and we see that there's, out of 100 reviews, there's 20 that are talking about this guy wasn't on time, right? Then
that's something people care about.
A fifth of the audience has taken the time to actually write a review, so a lot more of the audience probably care about it too.
Yes.
So then you can turn that into an advantage for you.
Yes.
And make sure that you're always on time. And you can put that in your copy, and you can say on your landing page that we will be on time. Instead of giving them a range from 9 to 5. If you ring up and say, right, we'll be there at 3. And when you're starting out in your company and you don't have that much work on the books, that's something you can afford to do.
Yep.
And that will help, and it'll give you a good name, and the customer will be happy. And, you might even be able to charge a little more if you have that sort of service.
Yes. Agreed. Just getting comfortable here.
You're settling in for the long haul.
Cool. Okay. So hopefully that's some useful information there. Then another thing that you can do, I think we've already touched on this, but look at the ads that they're running on Google. You can use Facebook Ads Library. If you Google Facebook Ads Library and click onto that, you'll be able to see any ads that are running on Facebook.
If they have ads running.
Yeah, there's also a nifty little trick that not many people know, but if you see a Google ad, you can click the 3 little dots in the Google ad and ask for more information about this advertiser, and it will show you all of the text ads that they're running.
Oh, I'm going to drop a bomb on Bill here. It's not 3 little dots. So if you search on Google Ads for an advert and it comes up, there's a little downwards pointing triangle next to the URL.
Wait a minute. Gary, I'm looking at 3 little dots, mate.
Well, I'm looking at a downward triangle.
Are you?
No, I'm lying. It was a downward triangle.
Yes. It's 3 little dots, and then it's about this advertiser. See more ads.
Moving on.
Just admit that I'm right.
Moving on.
Go on.
Moving on.
I want to hear you say it.
You might think you're right.
Yeah. Thanks, Gary. Thank you. Thank you. So you can see all of the ads that any of these competitors of yours are running. You can read them all. You can see all of the Facebook ads any of these competitors are running.
Yep.
And you can make your list of value propositions that you think that could be working for these people.
Yep.
And pick and choose or which ones you want to match or beat to make sure that you were competitive. It's like setting up a stall in a market, right? If you've got a stall in the middle of other stalls and you've got no offer, right? You've just got, let's just say you're selling mugs, right? And you've got coffee mugs for sale and your stall on the front says coffee mugs for sale. The one next to you says buy 2, get 1 free.
Yep.
And the one on the other one says, half price today or, whatever it might be. They've added value to it, made by, made out of elephant ivory.
That is not value, Bill.
Yeah.
Elephant ivory is illegal to own. Do not buy that, people.
You get my point. You're going to lose, right? You need to make your ad like a stall in the market stand out, right?
Yeah.
And your web page as well, which leads us on to the next step, Gary, which is buying a website and how to make sure you get one that suits your business needs.
Oh, I would just add that we should have a look at their SEO rankings.
Yes.
Now, this is tricky. And for someone with little to no digital skills who may be listening to this, the only advice I can give you there is to Google search SEO rankings tool, free SEO rankings tool. Find a website that's not going to charge you. There's plenty out there that are free. Yep. So if you find one that's asking you to sign up or to pay, ignore it, find another. Take the URL, the domain name of your competitor, put it into this free one that you've found, hit run, and it'll tell you what they are showing up for on Google. And the keywords that they are running, keywords that they for an established company who you might be trying to analyze, it will show you what keywords they as a business find important. And if they are a competitor of yours or you perceive that they will be one day, there might be some gold dust in there. There might be some gems. There might be some keywords that you've never considered. And all of a sudden you're taking their learnings that they've spent money on and hard-earned, what's the word I'm looking for? They've spent a lot of time trying to figure it out.
Yes.
You can take their learnings and use it yourself if it's relevant.
Man, we do that. We do that all the time because we're managing campaigns for clients, for example, with e-commerce.
Yeah.
Kogan, Wish. What's the other one? There's this Amazon, obviously.
Yeah.
eBay. We look at how they structure their checkout flows. We look at how they update their websites to improve the conversion rate.
Yep.
And we see what's working for them. I mean, it makes no sense not to look at who the best in your business is.
Exactly.
And, success leaves footprints, right?
So using the bed sheets and pillowcases example.
Yeah.
If, for example, you're selling bed sheets and pillowcases, and you wanted to understand what possible keywords might be out there, what Bill's saying and what I'm saying is that you should have a look at companies like Amazon, and in your territory, in your area, and scan their SEO rankings for anything remotely related to pillow or bedsheet. Because Amazon is getting 1 billion visitors a day. They've spent billions in analysis and research. And if you know how to find it, the information is there. Yes. You will then get a massive list of all the keywords that Amazon shows up for, which is related to bed sheets and pillowcases. And you go through it and you go, yep, nope, yep, nope, yep, and find the ones that are going to be relevant for you. And then you come to
yep, nope, yep, nope.
Nope, yep, nope.
No, that you changed it.
I was on a different part of the list at that point.
I was confused as a baby in a topless by now, Gary. Thanks, mate.
Anyway, so that's how to analyze your competition.
Yep.
You can do that yourselves at home. There's free tools to do it. You can just Google search how to analyze.
We're going to tell them some tools for Gary. Why don't we give them like SEMrush?
Yeah, you check out SEMrush. There's
Ahrefs,
but they might have to pay for subscriptions to this.
Yeah.
There's free versions. The Hoff SEO rankings checker.
They're also an SEO agency.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Don't tell people.
You might want to have a look at people's domain authority.
Yes.
That's just Google search domain authority checker.
So yeah.
There's heaps of stuff out there.
Yes.
To be honest, that kettle of fish is so big that we could spend an entire series just talking about that. But that's not what people are here for.
Right.
Just know you need to analyze your competition, and know that there is help out there for people who go and Google search how to do competitor analysis. Follow the steps that we've outlined. Follow the steps that you find online, and you will come away with valuable information that will help you better define your company and your service and your offerings and where you're going to put your prices and all of that sort of stuff.
Fantastic. We're moving on to buying a website now.
We are indeed.
All right. This is a dense subject to try to cover.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
The first thing I would say here is if you are not a web developer, if you don't have 20 years experience or even 10 years experience developing websites, when it comes time to build your website, don't do it yourself. You will be tempted to do it yourself. You will think you can get away with doing it yourself. You'll think that it's going to be cheaper and therefore that's better, but it is not going to be better. And we'll get into that with the next bullet points, the next talking points. So I'll explain why you should never build your own website if you want to have a serious company.
I am a firm believer in, if you're building an e-commerce site, to use Shopify.
Yep.
For so many reasons. It's got a lot of native apps that you can install, native integrations with Facebook and Google. They look better. They convert more. People are accustomed to Shopify checkouts. When they see one, they're familiar with it, so there's no jarring in the experience. You're more likely to get them to put their credit card into a Shopify checkout because they've done it 100 times before. Yeah. A lot of people actually even have Shop Pay, which means that they're already there if you have a Shopify website. So definitely 100%, I highly recommend Shopify for e-commerce. Service-based WordPress is still, over 30% of the websites on the internet are WordPress.
Yeah.
WordPress has pros and cons.
It does. It has pretty big pros and cons. The largest con to WordPress is that you require hosting.
Well, yes, all websites require hosting, but you mean a hosting company?
A hosting company is a separate service that you have to pay somebody else for.
Yes. Yeah. Like, so if you sign up with Wix or Squarespace,
it's hosted with them. Yeah,
but the thing is that it's a Wix or Squarespace website forever. And you can't get the source code. You can't change things that you want to be able to change. There's Webflow also is a new one that's come out. It's like a Wix, but gaining popularity quickly.
Yeah. It depends on what your website is supposed to do, right? If you are looking to do e-commerce retail, solid recommendation that we're probably never going to deviate away from is to use Shopify. If you're creating a store that's going to have 1,001 products and your marketing budget's going to be from day one, 100 grand a year, you might look at Magento and stuff like that. But this podcast isn't really.
Magento?
Yeah.
Nah, man, come on.
What would you go for?
Shopify.
Still?
100%. There are some gargantuan e-commerce.
There are.
On Shopify.
True.
So so Magento was very popular until they doubled their pricing. And same with Neato is another e-commerce platform that racked up their fees. Shopify's not cheap. It's cheap to get started, but there's a fee on top of every sale that you make, a small percentage.
Yeah.
You have to upgrade to Shopify Plus to get that percentage to be reduced, and at some point in your business's sales, growth cycle, that will make sense to do that. To go to Shopify Plus for $2,000 plus a month means it's going to save you more than that, because instead of the fees being 2%, they're 1.58% or whatever it is at the time. So that can work, but I'm such a big believer in Shopify, Gary. I really am.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I mean, there may be some instances where Nido or Magento are a more appropriate fit for your unique business requirements. There's only a few of those though. So for large, so they have their pros and cons. Nido is more of a database kind of PHP backend, so it's easier to do bulk work in the backend. Same with Magento. BigCommerce is kind of on its way out, not as popular anymore.
I think what we should do is maybe dial down some of the tech talk.
Yes.
Because we're working with the assumption that our podcast audience are completely new to all of this.
Okay.
So
Shopify. Just use Shopify.
Basically, yes.
Yes. I was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
I was trying to be nice because you mentioned some other platforms and I kiboshed you on that. but I'm sure they have their applications for some people, but let's stick to Shopify.
Yeah. Now, if you're not doing e-commerce, if you're the electrician from Whoop Whoop, then you might want to look at different platforms. And there are pros and cons to these different platforms.
Yes.
Now, again, it comes down to cost.
Yes.
You know, if you have very little money and you're setting up a company and all you need is a couple of pages on the internet and you need your phone to ring, there are times when not using WordPress would be okay. But that's going to come down to the amount of traffic you need on your website and how you're going to get that traffic.
Yeah.
So, for example, and there's a couple of layers to this, right? WordPress is our preference. We advocate that anyone who's setting up a service-based company should probably lean heavily on WordPress in the beginning. However, if you can't afford the developer that would be required to build a WordPress website because you don't have those skills, you can go for a cheaper option. I personally would prefer something like Squarespace over something like Wix. But if you do that, you should accept the fact that once it's up and running, you are then going to have to buy your traffic. You're going to have to pay for the people to visit your website. You're going to have to give people like Facebook or Google money to drive traffic to that website.
There's also something else I'll say about this that not many people know. Websites have a job, right?
Yep.
And each page on the website essentially also has a job. So for a service-based business, if you're starting out and you think that you just need to get leads as quickly as possible, you may not even need a website. You might only need a landing page. Landing pages suffice for 90% of service-based businesses to generate leads and inquiries.
Can you just explain to the audience what the difference between a website and a landing page is?
It's a one-page website. So it's still a website, but it's a one-page website. So there's multiple landing page softwares out there that people can use affordably. We use Instapage for our clients. There's, ClickFunnels. There's a range of these things.
There's dozens.
So rather than thinking about building this whole big website just so you can get some leads from your ads, which might be an upfront cost of $3,000 or $6,000 or whatever people are going to charge for websites, for the particular website that you want, you may be with some agencies, if you're going to pay someone to do your Google ads for you, able to get a landing page at a cheap rate or even for free in the setup, right?
Yeah.
And so you can avoid that big hit of $3,000 or $6,000 or plus $1,000 to build a website and start getting leads from your ads, invest that money into your ads instead to buy leads to start growing your business. So the only reason why you'd want to build a website with 5, 10 plus pages is because you want to do SEO or you want to provide value for potentially larger clients that are going to do due diligence and want to look through your website and build your brand that way. Yeah. But it's not entirely necessary.
Now, this will depend on who you are.
Yes.
It'll depend on the sector that you're in, and it will depend on the space that you're in. So obviously all of this is a very complicated subject, and it's nuanced with the fact that one person's going to need one thing and another person's going to need another thing. And, they might be in the same industry, but if they're in different locations, they will have different requirements. The 29-year-old electrician who we spoke about last week, who was getting out from underneath his boss's shadow, if he is an electrician and he's chosen the name Electrician Plus Location or Electrician Sydney, for example, he might just need that one page that Bill's talking about because he is okay with buying his traffic. He's going to give the Google Ads account manager some money and they're going to send relevant traffic to that page to make his phone ring. If you are the wedding photographer that we spoke about, chances are, and again, nuanced, but chances are a photography website can't be a landing page. Or I should say that a landing page, a one-page website for a photographer probably wouldn't work as well, because when a prospective bride or groom is looking for a photographer, they're looking to see galleries. They're looking to see work that's been done before. They're looking to see examples so that they can think, okay, this is a good one. That's a bad one. And if they go to the one-page website, they go, well, that's a photographer, but there's no examples of work. So depending on your industry and depending on the nuance of your trade, a landing page might not be the best thing. But for anyone setting up a company which is not e-commerce, which is service-based and who might be on a budget, a landing page is something that you should definitely look into.
Yes.
Because it is a cheaper alternative than just outlaying for the website at the beginning. And if it works, and for most people it will, if it works, that will drive the turnover that you need to come back in 6 months and actually buy the website once you've got some cash in your back pocket.
Yeah, larger ticket items generally, I think, need more backup information to kind of support their offer.
Well, a wedding photography, you should have, in theory, you only ever buy one. You should only ever pay for one once in your life, right? So you want to make sure you get it right.
Per wedding.
And you are happy because you know it's an expensive thing. It's going to cost you a lot of money to get a wedding photographer. So you need, like Bill says, it's a big ticket item. So that website should be able to convey a lot more information, sample a lot more work.
Yep, agreed.